nails, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be learning how to create these beautiful rose quartz nails using 3 different techniques. The first technique is going to require 3 different layers of acrylic. The first layer is going to be white acrylic. You're going to add this onto the nail, make sure that it is textured. You're going to notice that I'm not going to smooth it out. Allow it to dry for a couple of seconds. And then I'm going to grab a little piece of plastic that I crinkled up and press it onto the nail. Now this step is really important. You want to make sure that it has a lot of texture and a lot of dimension. That way when you add the next 2 layers, you're going to really be able to see the depth of this design. For this next step, we're going to be using our pink cloud acrylic. You want to make sure that you're using a semi-sheer pink acrylic. That way you can really see through the white acrylic underneath, but it still covers up a little bit of the color underneath. So a fully sheer color will completely just show the white underneath and will not give you that dimension that you need. Now the key to this is to add very small and thin beads and then spread it out evenly throughout the nail so that you don't end up adding more bulk and end up with a bulky nail. Next, you're going to take your Zoeve, your favorite bit. This is a carbide bit that's actually really safe for use around the cuticle area, and it's really good to remove a little bit of bulk and smooth out the nails. So this step is just going to help us reveal more layers of the white underneath, but at the same time, because remember we created dimension with that initial step, we're not going to be removing a lot of the pink. Goal is to smooth it out a little bit, just enough to reveal some of the upper white layers but still be able to see the marbling within the nail. Next up, we're just going to encapsulate this design to make sure that when we do go to filing and smoothing out the nail, we're not going to file off any of our design anymore. If you look really closely, you can really appreciate the depth and the dimension of this design. It is absolutely beautiful, and every single nail is going to be very different. For the next technique, we're going to be starting with our pink cloud acrylic all over the nail. Make sure that it is a very thin, even layer. That way when you add the following layers, we're not adding more bulk, we're just adding the design and the dimension that we need. Next, I'm going to take a tiny bead of white mixed with clear and apply it throughout the nail, creating lines. The cool thing about this next technique is that we can really play around with the different shapes and the different sizes and the different tones of the white marbling that we're going to create throughout the nail. What I like to do is take some beads mixed with white and clear and other beads just straight white to really give the design a lot of depth and a lot of dimension as well, and the different tones of white. That way you can really see when you look at the design closely that there's a lot of layers going on inside. You want to make sure that all of the layers that you're applying are very thin. That way, again, we're not bulking up the nail, we're just adding dimension. This is actually why it's also very important to have a sheer pink acrylic, because if you have a more opaque acrylic, it's going to completely cover up your design, so you will not really be able to see all the layers within. For this next step, I'm going to pick up a very small pearl of white acrylic and then flip my brush to the opposite side that does not have any acrylic, and then feather out the acrylic throughout the nail. This is going to ensure that I'm not placing the entire bead down and then adding an excessive amount of white acrylic, because I just would need a very small amount and kind of feathered out throughout the nail. And as you can see, I just continued adding more lines and more layers throughout the nail, again very thin, just to make sure that we're not adding bulk. And then at the end, I'm just going to encapsulate the entire nail to make sure that when we do file and buff, we're not filing away any of our design. After encapsulating, once you file and buff and add your top coat, you'll really be able to see how beautiful this design is. Just like the first one, when you look at it really closely, you'll really be able to appreciate all of the details and the dimension that these last two designs have, because they are layered acrylic. For the next design, we're going to start with our pink cloud acrylic all over the nail. For this one, you actually want to build the complete nail like you would normally. After filing and smoothing your nail, you want to add your top coat. I'm going to be using a matte top coat, and I'm going to cure for about 30 seconds on my LED light. For this next step, you want to take a white gel polish and mix it with alcohol to thin it out. It's very important to use a gel polish instead of regular polish, just because a regular polish is going to dry up really fast and you want to have enough time to work with this. Notice how the lines that I'm creating, they're very random and spread out throughout the nail. You're gonna work these lines and kind of fade them in to create dimension to this design. Next, I'm gonna take a brush. This is just a cleanup brush that I had, and I'm gonna use a little bit of alcohol to make sure that the lines that I just created are very blended in. Then after that, I'm going to take a very thin liner brush with just pure white gel polish and then create some lines throughout the nail. You don't want these lines to be perfect, because if you actually look at a rose quartz nails or a marble nail, the lines are never perfect. They're actually a little squiggly and they go in all kinds of directions. I just want to note that after every layer of polish that I add, I'm going to be flash curing for about 10 seconds in my LED UV light. That way, when you go on to applying the next layer, you're not moving around your previous layer. Make sure that you cure your design completely before adding your top coat. That way you don't end up ruining the beautiful design that you just created. And here is the finished result. I definitely had a lot of fun creating these 3 designs using 3 different techniques. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it.